It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly media roundup, 545 Live. I'm Kia Bailey.
And I'm Roland Boyden. Tonight, Pay As You Throw is here to stay, and we'll show you what the Brattleboro Select Board has boiled it all down to at their special meeting held last night. It'll be smooth sailing for the $27 million FY16 BOHS budget, and it's a weekend of events to remember with Harris Hill, domino toppling, and more all in store for the region.
All that and more, and we'll do it in just 15 minutes, so stick with us.
It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's Nightly News.
Welcome back to this February 13th, 2015 edition of 545 Live. A look at the video results of the last time 545 Live found itself on a Friday the 13th, with the work of video intern turned special effects supervisor Nolan Edgar and BCTV access coordinator turned angel of death Frederick Noyes behind the costume.
And now that that's established, and I do in fact have a head here on my shoulders, at least literally, if not figuratively, into the headlines we go, and we'll start with last night's Brattleboro Select Board special meeting. Took a 2-hour look at the ever-hot topic of adopting a pay-as-you-throw trash removal system for the municipality, a move that comes with some socioeconomic implications as well as a direct impact on the general fund, but a decision that was taken out of the board/town reps' hands this time around, with state legislation passing that will see forms of waste zero practice mandated across the state, forcing the town to place PAYT back in the debate. With last night's meeting including Assistant Town Manager Patrick Moreland and Brattleboro Compost Program Coordinator Moss Kaler laying out the details of the proposed pay-as-you-throw system, which would require local residents to purchase $2 or $3 bags each week to house their trash for disposal.
I weighed trash bags in from Hinsdale, Vernon, Gill, and Bernardston, Massachusetts, all of whom have pay-as-you-throw programs, and all of whom have two sizes bags, the larger and the smaller, very similar to what the committee is proposing. And in each town, without exception, the smaller bag weighed more than half of what the larger bag weighed.
Just a brief clip of last night's 2-hour special select board meeting from February 12th. You can find it, it's streaming right now, courtesy of BCTV's official YouTube channel, and of course BrattleboroTV.org, where the Brattleboro Select Board has its own series landing page. You can find all the most recent meetings dating back years even, so be sure to check that out to get more details on the coming pay-as-you-throw system.
Moving on, this Tuesday saw just 73 residents in attendance to vote on Brattleboro Union High School's budget for the 2016 fiscal year, an all-time low for turnout with a mere 5% of the potential 1,474 eligible voters from the area towns present at the meeting. The proposed budget of $27.8 million, however, was approved by the vast majority.
What the board often faces in December as we're doing planning is changes in the funding formula that are not predictable, that have a direct effect on the tax rate. So what's in the news now, often you'll hear the statewide property tax being recommended by the governor, discussion by the legislature.
The overall spending for the high school, middle school, and career center is down $160,000 compared to the current budget, but the tax rate is still predicted to increase in the fiscal year 2016.
All right, moving on. Hard to make it too far on a 545 Live these days without a snowstorm or two to talk about, with this past weekend's 3-day snow that left close to 3 feet across much of Brattleboro, forcing municipal road crews to work throughout much of the night on snow removal, something that BCTV volunteers like James Van Slyban and Russ Graybeck were on top of when it came to documenting the latest weather trials and tribulations for the region, from late night snow clearing to bumper I-91 traffic.
And with more snow on the way this weekend, it's important to keep snow removal regulations for downtown in mind. There is a 1-hour parking limit between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. for all streets within the town limit. Additionally, all snow must be removed from sidewalks by the property owners within 48 hours of accumulation. Next up, The energy company TransCanada owns hydro dams in both Vernon and Rockingham, but the towns disagree with the company as to how much those dams are really worth. According to the town and state, Vernon's property is valued at $39.78 million, while TransCanada only puts its worth at $20.9 million. Another facility in Bellows Falls was valued in 2012 at $108 million, but TransCanada only believes it is worth $62 million. These discrepancies have brought together attorneys from 3 different Vermont towns to talk and negotiate with TransCanada, but another mediation might need to occur in order to reach a decision. Another possibility would be to try the cases in court, though arranging a trial with so many attorneys could bring up some complications. Now, at this week's regular meeting of the Putney Select Board, the town's attorney took some time to explain the predicament towns all up and down the Connecticut River could find themselves in.
The other aspect of this that affects the town is that there is a risk if the case goes forward to trial and if the judge agrees with TransCanada that all they're liable to pay tax on is 20 or 30 acres, the tax that they have paid for 2014 on the $1,864,000 valuation is refundable back to them with interest.
Find that Putney Select Board meeting, including the town attorney talking about the TransCanada debate and more. It's from this past Wednesday, and it's up streaming now as we speak at BrattleboroTV.org. All right, time to move on now and launch into our Commons News Report as we check in with Brattleboro's weekly independent newspaper, which you can find on newsstands fresh each and every Wednesday. Pick them up for free, or do what we're about to do with our split screen and head to commonsnews.org to check them out. And if you're a community-minded citizen wanting to help keep the paper afloat, you can even pick up a paid subscription as well. We've got an Olga Peters penned article this time around entitled, get the split screen up here, entitled Low Levels of Strontium-90 Found in VY Monitoring Well, No Immediate Risk to Health. Entergy will not change monitoring based on test results.
In summary, water samples taken from Vermont Yankees wells have come back from testing showing indications of strontium-90, a radioactive isotope. According to the Vermont Department of Health and the Environment Protection Agency's safe drinking water level, the radioactivity levels are low enough that there is no health risk at the moment. Traces of SR90 were found in 5 of the 31 monitoring wells at VY, which are all part of their environmental monitoring program. There is a slight possibility that these levels are caused by a new leak, but it is much more likely that the presence of strontium-90 is indicative of an old leak. As these levels pose no immediate threat, no changes in policy or monitoring will be made, but this new information will be taken into consideration throughout the decommissioning and decontamination process.
You can find out more from that article, again, by heading to commonsnews.org. And we'll check in next week with a new Commons article, all part of that Commons News Report here on 545 Live. All right, moving on, we've got a whale of a calendar ahead looking at this weekend's events. But first, the weather, courtesy of the high school's recently returned morning news advisory broadcast, BUHS TV, as this past Wednesday marked the first broadcast from BUHS TV for their spring semester, and another episode aired this morning, including this green screen weather report.
Tomorrow we're expecting some afternoon snow with a high of 20 and a low of 10. And then on Sunday, it's going to be very cold and very windy with a high of 14 and a low of -6. Up for your break for weather, we have some warmer temperatures on Tuesday, but some more snow on Wednesday and some more snow on Friday. Enjoy your break, guys. Back to the deck.
Catch BUHS TV every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:15 a.m. on BCTV Channel 10, which replays those same evenings at 6 p.m. right here on Channel 8 following this here 545 live broadcast. As the TV production class continues their work producing 10-minute shows packed with announcements, weather forecasts, sports updates, and more. All of those episodes are aired right here on BCTV and can be found dating as far back as 2011, all on BrattleboroTV.org.
All right, and with that, as promised, time into our BCTV video calendar. This is all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, as their contributions to the station each year fund our weekly look at area events. And tonight we'll look no further than this weekend's massive international event, the annual Harris Hill Ski Jump, to start us off on our calendar here, with the event beginning tomorrow, Saturday the 14th, with the open class trials starting at 11 a.m. The opening ceremonies will be held at 12:15, with the FI and US Cups trials kicking off at 1 p.m. Now, the same schedule is in place for Sunday the 15th, with the awards being given both days after the events are completed. Tickets can be purchased online at brownpapertickets.com or at the gate. And it's definitely advised to dress warmly and in many layers for this winter event, as we are looking at some really cold temperatures in there as well. For more, we've got a clip. This is footage put together from last year's Harris Hill ski jump, including some GoPro helmet cam action from some of the skiers flying down the lift. Let's take a look.
Ski jumping is back in Brattleboro, Vermont.
Here he comes, folks. It's going to be a long one. Make a little noise.
Watch jumpers from 5 nations fly at 60 miles an hour.
Moving on with our video calendar. This weekend, join the strolling of the heifers as they get set to host a beer, cider, and cheese festival today, which started at 5 p.m. and will run through to 8 p.m. at the River Garden on Main Street for anyone above the age of 21. Free samples of the beer and cheese from the vendors is included with the purchase of a ticket. 8 craft brewers and 20 cheesemakers are featured at this fundraiser. And let's not forget this coming Monday's 8th annual domino toppling extravaganza held at the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center, as once again the museum gets set to host a domino toppling event to end all domino topplings. Doors will open at 4:30 p.m. for the 5 p.m. event. People are welcome to inspect the elaborate setup before it gets knocked over, as well as make a guess as to how many dominoes were used to make up the course. The person who guesses closest gets to be the one to start the entire chain of events. Tickets are at the door on a first-come, first-served basis.
And not only is tomorrow Valentine's Day for all you lovebirds out there, but it's also the birthday of one-time Brattleboro Town Manager Barb Sondag. So, from the 545 Live crew, including correspondent James Bansleben, who came across this serendipitous heart-shaped formation over the Brattleboro skyline that we're seeing on the screen now. Happy birthday, Barb, and happy Valentine's Day to all the rest of you out there.
All right, that does it for another edition of 545 Live. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on BCTV Channel 8 at 5:45 p.m. In the meantime, thanks for watching.